Forget what you thought you knew about winning. This is a story where dreams were built, dynasties were challenged, and the future of two franchises hung by a single thread. And the stakes? Absolutely everything. Welcome to a legendary chapter in basketball history, a series where the term everything on the line truly meant everything. We're talking about the 2019 NBA Finals, a showdown that felt less like a basketball game and more like a pivotal moment for two entire franchises. On one side, the Toronto Raptors. After years of heartbreak and falling short, they went all in. They traded the beloved face of their franchise for a superstar with just 1 year left on his contract. A massive gamble. This was their one shot, their single season to prove they belong. If they won, they wouldn't just capture a championship. They would have stopped one of the greatest dynasties in its tracks. And speaking of dynasties, on the other side were the Golden State Warriors. They were on the cusp of a three-peat, winning 3 championships in a row, a feat that would cement their place among the all-time greats. But they too faced a huge unknown. Their superstar Kevin Durant was also in the final year of his contract. A loss in these finals could mean the end of an era, a future where their incredible run fractured. I'm telling you, the tension was palpable. These finals weren't just about a trophy. They were about legacy, destiny, and the very foundation of two teams' futures. To understand the weight of this series, let's briefly look at the Warriors' incredible journey. In 2019, they were making their 5th consecutive finals appearance, aiming for their 4th championship in 5 years. But rewind a few years, and no one saw this coming. Back in 2015, Golden State was the league darling, a young, exciting team with incredible shooters like Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, and a fiery leader in Draymond Green. Before anyone knew it, they were NBA champions. Many called it a one-hit wonder, claiming they got lucky with injuries to opponents, but they proved those doubters wrong. A unanimous MVP for Steph, a historic 73-9 season, the best regular season record ever, and another final strip proved they were legitimate. Then came the stumble, a historic collapse in the 2016 finals, where they blew a 3-1 lead. But that moment surprisingly opened the door to something even bigger. Just 15 days later, Kevin Durant became a Golden State Warrior. This turned one of the greatest teams in NBA history into arguably the greatest team of all time. They certainly played like it. They had the single greatest postseason run in league history with a 16-1 record, getting revenge on the Cavs and capturing their 2nd championship. Then they did it again. Back-to-back titles, 3 in 4 years. They were officially a dynasty. But they wanted more. They were chasing immortality, with their eyes set on the three-peat. The 2019 season, however, was a roller coaster for these Warriors. Early on, just a month into the season, a heated exchange erupted between KD and Draymond Green during a game against the Clippers. Draymond reportedly told KD they didn't need him, and that he should leave because they'd won without him. KD's response was caught on camera. "That's why I'm out." This was a massive story. Durant was in the final year of his contract, and his looming free agency was clearly a distraction. Suddenly, the team's chemistry seemed in jeopardy. But at the end of the day, the Warriors were still the Warriors. They finished with a 57-win season and found themselves facing their rivals, the Houston Rockets, in round 2 of the playoffs. Then, in Game 5 against Houston, the hopes of a three-peat took a major blow. On a seemingly normal jump shot, Kevin Durant strained his right calf. He was forced to leave the game and was out for the rest of the series. All of a sudden, Golden State seemed beatable. Are you captivated by these high-stakes sports stories? If you're enjoying this deep dive, please take a second to hit that subscribe button. You won't want to miss out on the next epic sports breakdown. While the Warriors were making the NBA Finals year after year, the Toronto Raptors had their own annual tradition. Like clockwork, it had an incredible regular season, often finishing as a top 3 seed in the East and viewed as a legitimate contender, to lose to LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. In 2016, Toronto made the Eastern Conference Finals and surprisingly pushed LeBron's Cavs to 6 games before being eliminated. In 2017, they got their rematch in round 2, but they were swept. Then came 2018. The Raptors had their best season in franchise history, finished as the 1st seed in the East. Cleveland had just lost Kyrie Irving in the offseason, so if Toronto was ever going to beat the Cavs, this was their moment. But instead, as fans painfully called it, LeBronto happened. James delivered a soul-crushing buzzer beater in Game 3, and the Raptors were swept again. It was their 3rd consecutive playoff exit to LeBron and the Cavs. The Raptors had earned a reputation as chokers and frauds, all because of one man. But finally, luck would swing Toronto's way. LeBron signed with the Lakers during the 2018 offseason, and suddenly, Toronto's championship window was wide open, and they went all in. The Raptors made an insane gamble. They traded the popular face of their franchise, DeMar DeRozan, to San Antonio for Kawhi Leonard. This was a huge risk because Kawhi had serious injury concerns and hadn't played basketball for nearly an entire season. Plus, he had only 1 year left in his contract and was reportedly not interested in playing in Toronto long term. The Raptors had one shot at this. literally everything on the line. The Kawhi era started out pretty well. They finished with a 58-win season, second in the East, despite Kawhi's careful load management. And come playoff time, he was a machine. Especially in round 2 against the Philadelphia 76ers, this was the moment why the Raptors traded for Kawhi. With the game tied, he took the final shot of Game 7. It bounced again, bounced a third time, then a fourth before dropping through the net at the buzzer. A game-winning buzzer beater in Game 7, capping off a 41-point night. The dude was a machine. In the conference finals, they faced the MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the first-seeded Milwaukee Bucks. After going down 2-0 in the series, Kawhi demanded to guard Giannis, and it changed everything. Toronto won 4 straight games to clinch a spot in the NBA Finals for the first time in franchise history, and they'd have home court advantage. Entering Game 1, the Warriors were still shorthanded. KD was hopeful to return in the finals, but nothing was confirmed, and after Game 1, they clearly needed his help if they wanted to three-peat. The Raptors jumped out to a 10-point lead in the first half and kept their foot on the gas the entire game. Steph Curry kept the Warriors afloat with 34 points, but it was canceled out by Pascal Siakam's incredible 32-point on amazing efficiency. Toronto drew first blood with a decisive win. After a strong Game 1, the Raptors came out in Game 2 with a bang. Siakam threw down a monster lob, and the crowd went crazy as part of a hot start for Toronto. But in the second half, the Warriors, true to their championship DNA, turned it on. Golden State tapped into another dimension and started the third quarter on an incredible 18-0 run with an absolute takeover. Thanks to a 12-point quarter by Kawhi, Toronto was only down 8 heading into the fourth. But then things got even worse for Golden State. At the 10-minute mark, Klay Thompson launched a 3, but landed awkwardly, suffering a hamstring injury. He was forced to leave the game. The Warriors were now missing 2 of their big 3 heading to the crunch time of a crucial Game 2. Yet somehow they found themselves up 2 with 15 seconds left. A made shot could seal the game, but a miss would give the Raptors a chance to go up 2-0 in the series. After some scrambling, the ball found its way to Andre Iguodala. With ice in his veins, Iguodala drilled a 3-pointer, extending the lead. The series was tied at 1. Klay Thompson's hamstring injury in Game 2 was worse than anticipated. He ended up missing Game 3, and with KD still sidelined, the Warriors were in a desperate situation. With 2 of their biggest stars out, how would the reigning champions respond? And would one of their remaining legends step up in an unimaginable way? They still had Steph Curry, and in Game 3, Steph turned into a human torch, dropping an incredible 47 points, the 9th most in the finals game ever. Along with 8 rebounds, 7 assists, and 6 threes, it was an all-time performance, a truly heroic effort, but it just wasn't enough. Kawhi poured in 30 points as part of an all-around game and kept the Warriors at bay. VanVleet threw in a rainbow 3 with a minute to go and put the game out of reach, and Toronto took care of business, going up 2-1 in the series. The Warriors got some good news in Game 4. Klay Thompson was back, but none of that mattered in this game because Kawhi Leonard was on a mission to put his team up 3-1. The Claw lit it up with the 17-point first quarter with an array of jumpers playing like a prime Michael Jordan. And in the third quarter, he had an encore. He started the second half hitting a 3, getting a steal on Draymond, and pulling up for another triple right in his face for another 17-point quarter. Toronto took a commanding 3-1 series lead behind Kawhi's 36-point, 12-rebound, and 4-steal masterpiece. He had just put Golden State's Dynasty on the ropes, but the Warriors had one more secret weapon locked and loaded. The Slim Reaper was back. Kevin Durant was making his long-awaited return to the finals in Game 5, and the dude was back like he never left. He exploded for 11 points in the first quarter, splashing home 3 three-pointers. Suddenly, the hopes of a 3-1 comeback and the three-peat were alive again. And then, in a split second, it was gone. Just 11 minutes into his return, Durant tore his right Achilles. Not only was the dynasty in jeopardy, but KD's future in basketball was suddenly a massive question mark. We had no idea if we'd ever see the same player again. Without KD, Golden State somehow kept the lead and were up 2 with 5 minutes left in the fourth. But as soon as the clock hit the 5-minute mark, Kawhi turned into the Claw again. He scored 10 straight points for the Raptors to put them up by 6, but when the clock hit the 2:40 mark, it became splash time again for Golden State. Klay Thompson hit a triple to cut the lead to 3 with a minute to go. Steph hit a fading 3 to tie the game, and on the next possession, Klay pump faked, took a dribble, launched a shot, and put them up by 3. This game was pure madness. There were 10 seconds left and Toronto was down by 1. Kyle Lowry, the heart and soul of the Raptors, got a good look in the corner, but Draymond got a piece of it. The Warriors' big 3, or what was left of it, came through to keep the dynasty alive and force a Game 6. Game 6 was the breaking point for both teams. Would the Raptors fall back on their past failures and fail to close out a series for the second game in a row? Or could the Warriors, missing Kevin Durant and now facing an exhausted Klay Thompson, make it back-to-back wins and avoid elimination? We were about to find out. In fitting fashion, Kyle Lowry caught fire early for the Raptors, scoring the first 11 points for his squad as part of a 15-point first quarter. But thanks to Klay's 18-point first half, the Warriors headed into the break up 3. In the third quarter, both teams started throwing haymakers. Kawhi made an insane tough N1 to put Toronto up 6. Klay had an answer in transition, pulling up for a 30-foot shot, and of course, he made it to tie the game at 76. Kawhi answered with another N1, and then Klay responded again with another 3, giving himself 30 points in the third quarter alone. The man was a flamethrower. But just a minute later, that flame was tragically put out. While going up for a layup, Klay got fouled, landed awkwardly, and grabbed his left knee in agonizing pain. He had to be helped off the court. That was it for Klay, or we so thought. Halfway to the dressing room, Klay famously made a 180 and sprinted back to the court, and the Warriors crowd roared in his return. Little did we know that Klay had just torn his ACL. Absolute heart and toughness, he swished down both free throws, then made his way back to the locker room for good. That was the last time we'd see Klay on the court for over 2 years. Despite losing Klay and having no KD, the Warriors kept the game close heading to the fourth quarter, and it saw Fred VanVleet turn into a monster. With 9 minutes to go, he nailed a 3 to tie the game at 91, following it up with another right in Curry's face to put the Raptors up 1. And at the 3-minute mark, he knocked down another triple to kickstart a 7-1 Toronto run to go up 6. VanVleet was putting the team on his back. But the dynasty didn't go away so quietly. Draymond answered with a 3, and then DeMarcus Cousins threw in a wild layup to get the Warriors within 1 with 46 seconds left. On the next possession, Siakam drove, stepped around Draymond, and floated in to go up 3 with 26 seconds left. Steph responded with 2 free throws to cut the lead back to 1. The Raptors inbound the ball. It got thrown to Danny Green, and he ripped it into the first row. The Warriors had a chance with less than 10 seconds left, down by just 1. Steve Kerr drew up a beautiful play to free up a man who started this dynasty. It was up to him to keep it alive. Steph Curry puts up a 3, it won't go. Draymond gets the rebound, but dribbles the ball off his leg as the clock expires. It's over. The Toronto Raptors are 2019 NBA champions. They defied all odds, weathered every storm, and ended one of the greatest dynasties in basketball history. The 2019 NBA Finals wasn't just a championship series. It was a saga of immense sacrifice, unexpected heroes, and a changing of the guard. It reminded us that in sports, as in life, even the most dominant forces can be conquered, and that sometimes the ultimate gamble pays off in the most spectacular way.